Hello and welcome to the Hugh Hatrick channel, and a very special evening because tonight we have the stars of SMA. That is right, we have the admin of SMA, the people that make it work. Let me introduce you to them. We have Robin Williams. Say hello, Robin. Give us a wave.
Hi, viewers. Good evening.
We have Sandshark. Good to see you. We have
Oh,
Paul McKenzie.
Hi.
Great to see you. We have Rainier or VSR Galala Brown.
Gunjani.
And we have Fred. Good to see you, Fred. Give us a wave.
Hi, everyone.
So you are all the admin of the SMA community and the championship, which has just finished a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks past Monday. But of course, you've got the MSA championship coming up very soon. It's been an amazing championship season. We've had lots of drama. We've had some phenomenal driving right the way through the tiers. We've interviewed all the drivers pretty much who have been within those tiers in the last few weeks. But I'll come to, in fact, who will I choose first? We'll have Paul McKenzie. You're the chairman. We'll ask you first. What are your thoughts on the SMA GT500 Championship now that is finished? It's been an amazing season, but how, from your point of view, how did it go?
So I think we need to step back a little bit and think about what went before. We were all involved with LNR, and we as a team made the decision that we felt that we needed a new identity to clean all slates and make a new start. And if I look at this last season, thanks to the other four in the admin team, I think it was one of the most competitive and the most exciting championships we've had, whether in LNR or in SMA. The racing was close, it was extremely competitive, and it was of a higher standard than we've ever seen before, I think. And I think most of the community would probably agree with that.
Yeah. It certainly was great to commentate on and to see the as you say, the closeness, the competitive abilities, and everyone was fired up. From talking to the drivers of the different tiers, they're all desperate to move up to a higher tier next time. They can't wait to have another go, which is really good. And there's a real sense of community and camaraderie. All the teams seem to be really getting on well, and they're all taking their part to learn strategies and practice and help each other out to get faster. It's been very encouraging to see how it worked. So it's been amazing. And Robin, of course, you are the promoter and the social media manager, and one we've had contact with many times over the last 10 or 12 weeks, along with Sean. How do you believe that the championship has gone, and you're looking obviously forward to the next one, but what is your thoughts on the current championship now that it's finished?
I think the most important part that I could take out of the GT500 Championship was that the community was. I can't actually find the word for it. It's buzzing at the moment. The energy in our league and amongst our members, because of the GT500 Championship and the launch that we had, is phenomenal. And it's great to see that going forward with the MSA Cup, that we've continued that momentum, and wanting to grow the sport through Motorsport South Africa. So the GT7 500 champion, I think I have never seen, and we've been around. I've also raced in other leagues as well. I haven't seen a league that competitive and with great racing as well. And it was just great to see. Obviously, with yourself and Floyd in the commentary box, I think also played a huge part in our championship, and just the whole package in a whole was awesome to watch. It was great.
Yeah. And I'll quickly go to Galara Brown, because you hosted the lobbies for Tier 1 that we commentated on, but you also raced in them. And what was it like from a driver's point of view? Because you're one of our competitors. What do you think of the first season so far?
I don't know all the lobbies. Paul hosted a few. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Previous seasons we had a bit of a easier run in the VSR team, but this year, yeah, we had some very stiff competition, and we really enjoyed that. So we're hoping that this MSA Cup, some more fast guys will join. We like the competition, keeping us on our toes. But I really
Yeah.
enjoyed the competition.
Yeah, so it's a great championship. And to Fred, the secretary of the SMA community, Fred, what did you think of the first season? And obviously you'll be looking forward to the MSA coming up in a few weeks' time.
Well, I didn't personally take part in the season, so I was a spectator, which was for a change a different perspective on the racing itself. But as a spectator, I loved it. It was excellent. There were some really great races where it was really close and some excellent racing. And yeah, so I think it was very good, and hopefully it will continue now into the MSA Cup, and I'm sure that it will.
Yeah. And finally, to you, Sandshark, your thoughts?
I'll tell you the bit that stood out for me the most was our commentary team. We had our own James Hunt and Murray Walker, and it really it made for really excitement watching tier one racing. Definitely, I think that was excellent. And then to echo what everybody else has said, the driving was close, a little boisterous or whatever you want to call it in tier one at times, but it was really a competitive season, and I think it was excellent, and we should only grow from here.
Yeah. So my next question is, I mean, it's a huge championship to organize, and I'd be interested to know, and I'm sure our viewers are interested as well, and the drivers, just how much time does it take to actually organize a championship like this? I'll go to you, Robin, because I know I've been in contact with you a lot. But just how many hours does it take to kind of make this all work?
To be honest, I think it's actually the launch of SMA was probably about 4 to 5 months worth of planning. Obviously, our team, I think we've been running leagues for, I think Fred has been the longest renewed as well. And Andre, very well experienced in running leagues for, I think, 5 to 6 years, maybe. I came along, I think, about 3-4 years ago. So the team's got a huge amount of experience in running leagues. What we've done is we've learned from, look, we've made lots of mistakes, I'll be very honest with you, over the past few years. But with that came solutions to those mistakes. And I think the launch of SMA showed that we took the time to really prepare for the launch and to make sure that everything that we had learned from our past mistakes was corrected in the MSA League. And I think that is why it has shown so much reward. But it's months and months of work. Our guys work. I mean, I put in about, with the social media, I put in about maybe 4 to 5 hours a day. And obviously with connecting with new members and stuff like that, always having to have someone just to answer all the questions, which is great. Our social media is doing very well. We signed up 5 members over the last 2 days.
Excellent.
So lots and lots of hours of preparation work. Months, I think we started planning SMA actually a year prior to its existence. But the actual launch took about 4 months of hard work.
Yeah.
Hugh, I think it's important that we give the community a bit of background on what we've done to get to where we're at. And after we'd made the decision that we wanted a new and fresh start with SMA, and bearing in mind the goal that we've got and still have, and that is that our drivers race eventually for South Africa with South African colours, and the goal of just growing the sport as a whole. I think that was a definite targets that we had, and we had certain things that we had to do to achieve those goals, and we're not there yet. But we've got a damn good start. And when I came in, I said to Robin and the guys that we needed to create an identity. We needed an online presence. We needed a social media presence in order to be able to attract sponsorship, because we need sponsorship for this league. It costs a lot of money to run it. And don't forget, all the guys that are sitting here don't earn 1 cent out of it. They do it all in their free time, and all the money that we get in through sponsorship, and I'll come to Robin and Fred's work in a minute, you know, it's been gained through our online identity, basically. What we are actually able to offer a sponsor. Because you can start a league, but if you have nothing to offer that sponsor, don't ask him for money. We've achieved that, and I think we've achieved through our online presence a community that is very close, and the quality of racing is absolutely unbelievable. We made a few very small changes. When we first started, we had a sponsor, and I particularly was determined to get the prizes down to the bottom guys as well. We changed that. We raced on a Monday now rather than a Sunday. I think that's also helped the community. So there's been an awful lot of planning behind it. We don't always get everything right. We've all got our jobs, and we all know what our jobs are. And we're 4 or 5 civil guys who are able to discuss and argue and get to the targets that we need to get to. And I think it's only going to get bigger, and I think it's only going to get better. Thanks to things like commentary and Renier's work with setting up the combinations, and Andre policing the social media platforms to make sure we don't get any horrible language or dirty pictures, and setting up the hosts. There are so many things that go into it. And Robin's work, I won't even speak about that. Fred backs up Robin. It's an incredible combination, and it's a lot of work, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah. I think a quick question for you all. Why did you choose GT7? Because there's a lot of platforms out there now, as it's grown even in the last year with things like LMU and other games. And you've got Assetto Corsa and ACC and things like that. What was the thing that drew you to GT7? I'll put that to Sandshark first.
I'm glad you put it to me, because I was worried what the other people were going to say. but for me, GT7 sort of chose us. It just so happens that at the time when GT7 was launched, there was no ACC for console. There wasn't any of the others for console, and GT7 was the racing simulator to play on, to drive on. And we've all come from different leagues, and then eventually raced in the same league together, and then slowly became part of the same admin group and worked from there. So we didn't, in my opinion, we didn't really choose GT7. It's just that we were playing GT7 at the time. But I think if I look at the other games out there, GT7 is still the easiest simulator to drive on.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I think what people love about GT7 is you can get in your car and drive and take out your daily aggressions without doing too much tuning, and that doesn't take away the skill, right? But it it's an easy thing to do, and it therefore becomes a pastime that doesn't become a chore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, GT7 does have a great way of its road cars, like its Porsches and Ferraris and other cars. They do sound great. They handle nicely, and even some of its cheaper cars are quite fun, like the Golf GTI. And now has it got a Renault 5 yet? I can't remember if it's got a Renault 5 yet, but it's got lots of other cars that are it's got the Alpines, hasn't it? It's got the Alpine, which is
it's got the
good one.
Alpines, yeah.
Yeah, and quite a few. So I think that's. Although I always find they're very good if you drive them on their own, but when they sometimes put them in races, it's almost as if the dynamic changes on it, isn't it? I don't know if it's because it's maybe using fuel and it doesn't always do that in other combinations, but it's quite interesting how that dynamic can change from race to practice.
There was an interesting comment made today in our WhatsApp chat group. Last night, the Puma team raced against the MGR team, and one of the interesting comments today was with the VW Sirocco that great car to drive, horrible car to race, and that sort of ties in with what you've said. Awesome car to drive, but in a race, it's not fun. It's difficult to overtake, but great car to drive.
Yeah, good for time trials. It used to be the OP car, didn't it? That was it. It was the kind of meta car for lots of the time trials when they first came out. Now, we've got a few questions here in the comments, so I will go to that. Now, CJ has said that Robin is not wearing his Puma branding. Oh, dear.
I keep those for special events, Chris.
And Sir Mags has a question for Rainier. He says, how about the Samba bus with the engine swap around the Nürburgring?
I would really love to do something like that. But the guys tend to dislike tuning races. What I would really love is if GT7 made a way for us to set a tune and give that tune to everybody, that nobody can change it again. So you can have a tune with a BOP, so everybody's in the same car. But unfortunately, we can't do that. But because then you're gonna have to trust that everybody does the same. But the other problem as well is you have to be level 50 to do an engine swap, and not everybody's there yet.
Yeah. And a quick question for Sandshark: Irvine or Bottas? Who is your favorite?
Irvine, yes. How is that even who asked that question? Was that
it could only be Sir Mags. It could only be Sir Mags that would ask that question, to be fair. But now, let's see. We have a question for Uncle Paul, again from Sir Mags. Are you the fastest SMA admin?
No, definitely not. No. So if we put them in order of fastness, I think it's Robin, Renier, Fred, Andre, and I come up behind.
Nonsense, rubbish.
That's furthest from the truth there, you. I think always tier 1, and then you have your answer.
It's definitely Gila the fastest, and probably Robin next. Paul, me and Andre at the back.
Well, now that you're half blind, maybe you can join with me in the back. But otherwise, I'm the guy keeping the social leagues going. Yeah.
Now that's the thing. I mean, it's amazing because like GT7 has moved on so much with all its cars and its dynamic, and of course its physics has changed on countless occasions, which also adds, makes a change for the drivers doing the championships, isn't it, in the leagues, because the cars do drive differently. Where before you can maybe chuck the car in, dare I say it, brake and turn. You're not allowed to do that anymore, and the car would still respond quite well. Nowadays, if you brake while you're trying to steer, the car just understeers. And it's quite special. Like I'm doing the Corvette time trial this morning, and it's quite fun. But the Gran Turismo does have a habit of making weight transfer a real issue. and almost kind of overdoing it. I think rather than actually, the energy change seems to be quite a big thing. If you have any gripes about GT7, what might they be? I'll start with you, Galara Brown.
My biggest gripe at the moment is the fact that some cars are locked behind invites and some cars are not available to purchase in Haggerty. They're only available once every so many months because there's so many races that I would love to do. I mean, I would love to do a race between the McLaren P1, the Ferrari LaFerrari, and the Porsche 918. But we can't do that because the one's too expensive, the other one's not available, the other one needs an invite for. So I would love to see that all the cars are available for everybody to buy. And I mean, like the cars that were before 2000, you can't buy them.
It would be
so
nice
you can't
if
even
they
have
had
a
that.
classic race.
I think if they had a pack in it for like £10 or 20, whatever it might be, I think people would genuinely pay to get all the cars up to date, to fill their garage with all the best stuff.
Not only that, I mean, it's like all the free updates we get are great, but I promise you I'll pay real money right now if they can give us a proper pack with new GT3 cars and GT4 cars and maybe a track or two.
They make millions out of it. I'm sure they get the money
That's
back.
the main thing.
That's the biggest
cars
gripe.
and tracks.
Yeah, I'll happily pay for that.
Yeah. I mean, what I was going to say on talking of tracks, what tracks would you like to see in the game that aren't there just now?
Silverstone for one. Yeah, Kailami. Mugello.
Zandvoort.
Yeah, no, there's quite a few. What's that
McDonald's,
one in Malaysia? That one? That would be awesome.
Oh yeah, it's Kuala Lumpur, or was it? Yeah, in Malaysia. That was a great circuit. That was. I'd love to see the old Hockenheim.
I have to say, Silverstone as a British person.
Yeah, I thought I could.
No, Silverstone for sure.
Yeah, Paul.
Yes, and the old Hockenheim ring would be incredible.
The old one. Oh,
yes.
Even the Hockenheim would be great.
That's a good track too. Yeah.
And they probably wouldn't have to pay for the licensing because it's now not there, isn't it? So it's kind of, they can just make it up from the previous design. But yeah, that was a great one, especially when it was wet, and the trees, the forest used to hold the wetness, used to hold the fog because it couldn't disperse with the trees on it. It was so dangerous.
And some of those new city tracks would also be awesome, like Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, I like Abu Dhabi. Yeah, that's the thing. In fact, we've got a few in the comments saying Cross would like Monaco. Yeah, Monaco. They used to have Circuit de l'Azur, didn't it? It was Circuit de l'Azur. We were talking about this when I had Levi on last week. And then Apricot Hill. Sir Mags has said Apricot Hill. I remember that. That would have been a good one. But I do wonder why they haven't launched that. Because surely once they've got the tracks in place on the kind of system, you'd think it would be easier to launch a new one.
Indianapolis and the Circuit of Americas. That would also be awesome.
Yeah, were there not rumors that Circuit of America was coming? I'm sure I heard a rumor that that was a potential. Or I think it's in LMU. It's definitely in LMU now. But yeah. And German Kiwi has put Ort. I don't know what Ort was.
Besides the cars, my biggest gripe with GT7, which we've experienced throughout the GT500 championship, was all these disconnects, and it's always the same process. As soon as they send in an update, they fix something and they break something else. And so throughout the season and throughout the tiers, we've had, and hosts have had, serious issues with having to try and get drivers. And I've gone through that, where you practice the entire week and come race day, you either can't get into the lobby or you get disconnected within the race. And obviously in tier 1, it happened quite badly over the last
quite a lot in the latter races. Which kind of like puts a real damper on your championship when you're chasing for podium. So I would hope that would kind of like at least try and be fixed, because I was in Floyd's lobby in the week when he was on Twitch streaming, and I got into the lobby and the car wouldn't get out the pit lane. Really?
You know, those type of things. So it's not. It's most certainly not I don't believe it's an internet issue with regards to South Africa, because in that specific lobby there were guys complaining that they had issues as well. you know.
Yeah.
So it's a big problem, I think, and I hope that they're going to look at sorting that out.
Yeah.
They used to have that. I think it was GT6 where we had that track builder feature,
Oh yeah.
and that was absolutely brilliant. We made up some fantastic tracks that we raced on with using that track builder. It's a pity that also fell away.
Yeah. Yeah. That was great fun being able to build your own track. Kind of added a huge kind of extra bit of fun to try and do that. Maybe they'll bring that back in GT8. But let's move on to MSA that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. What are your thoughts about that? And what do you think are the most exciting prospects for MSA? Do you think it's the car combinations, or do you think it's going to be very close between the drivers, or perhaps both? I'll go to you, Sanshark.
I unfortunately won't be doing the MSA series, but I do like the combo. It was actually what's the word I'm looking for? Suggested by one of our drivers, one of our members, that we stick to the same car for back-to-back races to give the guys a chance to get to know them. And I think that's going to make an interesting dynamic with the guys having the same car for a few races rather than changing every week. But I believe it's going to be even closer racing than the SMA Season 1 was.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I'll go to you, Fred. What are your thoughts?
Well, to follow on what Andre says, with it being one make, so they're going to be nobody's going to have any advantage whatsoever in terms of performance. So it's going to come down to skill, and how your strategies and stuff like that. So I foresee that the racing could be even closer than the GT500 championship.
Yeah, because there was quite a lot of drivers that have said that. I mean, I remember Neil in his last race in Tier 1. I mean, he got up to second place, and then ended up finishing third, and that was his best performance of the season because it was in the Aston Martin. And then poor old Captain Slow, he really struggled with that Aston Martin, and from being quite competitive, that car was really it was hard going. But it shows you that with the same car or with normal road cars, it's going to be close, isn't it? When they know what car it is over that period of time, they're able to be much more competitive. So that's going to be great to see. And it's nice that they've got different types of cars. I think we've got some Group 3 and Group 4 coming up in MSA. Yeah. So no, that's going to be the thing. So what would you say to new drivers who are considering coming into the MSA Championship? What would you say is the best thing? You know, what the most exciting thing that they can enjoy if they take part in MSA?
I think the first thing that's to be said is don't be afraid to join us. I know when I started to race in a league, I was a little bit nervous and I was useless and I didn't quite know what to do. And I think it's important that everybody that wants to join us comes and joins us. We've got drivers of all sorts of levels and commitments, and we've got something for everybody. And, you know, in the last championship, we had 6 pools of 14 drivers or something. And they all different levels, and a lot of them really, really enjoyed it. I think, you know, that is the most exciting thing, that you've got to learn to enjoy it. And you know, it's a game, and it's a competitive game, yes, but enjoy it, and come and race with us. It's the best. It is the best thing when you're in contention for a race. It's amazing.
Yeah, because that's even whatever tier you're in, if you've got a chance at getting on that podium, if you found your competitive area and you can actually, so you know where you can work from, and you've got a chance, even if it's in Tier 6, it's like you're still competing for that title, isn't it? You're still going for it, and you've got a chance. Maybe
Exactly.
that's the only one that I could compete in. Going on my time trial times recently, I have been struggling. I might even get a gold, but I seem to be getting slower, not quicker, when it comes to some of these things. But no, there does seem a great camaraderie and a great experience of the excitement and adrenaline that you can really go for a title, and you'll find the tier that suits you. I did like that fact that you could change tiers over the first 6 races, because that was really, I think that really made it fair. It really kind of got people pretty much where they needed to be. And then it settled after that. And then we had some great racing in Tier 1, especially in the second part of the season. So what are your plans for MSA and beyond? I'll go to you, Robin. What's going to happen over the summer and beyond?
The plans and the vision for SMA when it comes to motorsports South Africa is obviously it's the platform we're using to grow the sport. And as Paul has said, that we want to get to the point where we have our South African pro and pro-am and amateur teams, and to go and race against other countries, which we have done last year. We raced against Ukraine, which is on the next level, because you'll be amazed how you feel when you get into your rig as per normal, but when you're racing for your country, it's a totally different feeling, you know. And I was fortunate to experience that once, and I'm very excited to experience that type of racing again, which will be happening this year. We'll be having some international races, but with regards to our mantra, which is growing the sport, it is basically trying to get the sport recognized, obviously by FIA, and by Motorsports South Africa. And so next year, with regionals, and then thereafter nationals, where you then could get your Springbok colors. The admin team's been doing the work with MSA, I think, for 3 years now, so it's been long in the making, and it's just so great to see that it's actually come to life. And the main thing that I want to say to all our viewers and our members that haven't registered yet is that, you know, there's a place for everybody in this stage of the growth of the sport. There are going to be championships in each tier of the MSA Cup, which I really think is great. So everybody has a chance to compete, to be accredited as a South African champion for the 2025 season. So it's really just growing the sport, and I think SMA is the leader in that. We are the only GT7 league that is affiliated to Motorsports South Africa and FIA. Pretty proud of that. And we're very excited about the future of that growth.
No, that is a big thing, I have to say. That's with the FIA involvement. I mean, I think that's a fantastic connection, and really it gives everybody in South Africa who loves sim racing a real reason to take part, because, you know, and to be part of a proper the FIA authority is massive in motorsport. It is a huge thing. That and it's I would love to. I would be part of a league that could have that kind of sponsorship, that kind of connection, because you can say, well, you're actually racing for a proper official championship that where there are big prizes, but there's prestige when you have a connection like that, which is really good. On a quick note, if there could be any country, now that I know you raced against Ukraine last year in a league race, or in a race that you did, what if there was any other country that you would like to race against, what would it be?
So
who can we beat?
No, we've got Finland that has made contact with us, that would like to be on our calendar at the end of the year. We've also, obviously, we in talks with McNaughty NRL, which is an American league. The time differences obviously are difficult, but I think if it's just kind of like a special event, we could possibly host it on a Saturday. Obviously, Sunday evenings won't work because of the timelines. But for me, it would most certainly Finland is one proper setup.
Yeah.
They've been around a long time. The league is, it's. I would think I'd like to race against Finland for sure.
Yeah.
I think that
sorry,
also feeds into our plans to possibly allow international drivers into our league at a later stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, we would try and confine that to the European servers, which we're on, so that theoretically we shouldn't get too much disturbance from a lag point of view or whatever. But that is also in the pipeline and that obviously is going to enhance our international presence as well. And that again feeds into the connection to MSA and so on and so on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's, there is a plan behind the madness.
Yeah. Aye. No, that's great. I put in the query of how about Great Britain? Is there a league in Great Britain that would be ready? Because I'm sure I'd love to race against you all. I think that would be quite fun, actually. That would be a good. We'll need to do a lobby or some kind of thing where we can get that.
You would be perfectly situated for that, being local to the UK. You should know a few leagues there who might be interested in racing the.
Yeah, I was going to say there's quite a few that we're connected with on Discord. Some quite big teams that use GT7 as their main base. But yeah, no, it's quite a thing. That now I have to say to all our viewers watching, the most impressive camera background there that we have is Gallara Brown. It looks like he is genuinely sitting in a Formula One car. We saw this when he first came in the pre-live show. All you need is a helmet, Gallara Brown, and somewhere to throw your steering wheel.
It's the biggest cockpit. That's the biggest cockpit I've ever seen. Have you seen how he can move around?
I could fit in that. I could be
a racing driver.
Oh, there you go. There you go. You see, that's going to go in a short. That's going to go in a YouTube short. That's I'll say is Gallara Brown a replacement for Ari Driver? That has Leclerc finally quit? No.
You got the wrong driver quitting.
I know exactly what driver I want to quit. It's like I'm only joking. I do like Hamilton, but yeah, no, it is great. Well, I mean, we've seen that there's so much that goes into these communities making these championships, and it's great to see it grow. And who knows what the future might bring, because as GT8 eventually comes out, whether it be next year or maybe the year after, who can tell what they're going to put in that? Will there be new tracks, new cars? I think maybe one of the hardest things for GTA just now, GT7 and GT8, is the development of cars has been very different, because we've all had hybrids, or there's such a push for electric cars that the manufacturers are not really making that many sports cars. Or it's very few and far between. When before you had so many, every manufacturer like Renault, they'd have their Megane, was it the RS6 or whatever? What's the one? RS, the Megane RS, the Clio RS. There's always lots of really good sports cars coming out from all these manufacturers. Now they don't have that so much, because it's all electric and it's kind of dying on its feet. Because electric cars, I don't think they transfer well to simulators, because there's no noise and usually terrible brakes and heavy weighty cars. What do you think they're going to do? Where do you think the cars might come from, or what cars would you like to see in Gran Turismo that would really add to your championship?
I think the two experts should answer that question. One is Renier, and the other one is Andre.
Yeah.
Renier, what would you like to build races around? Which cars?
You're on mute.
Yeah, that's a difficult one. I haven't actually really thought about that. Seeing as we aren't even getting modern GT3 cars, is not something I was thinking about. The electric cars that are in the game are actually quite not too bad to drive, but they don't have gears, which is kind of boring. So yeah,
The
But
Hyundai Genesis.
I
isn't
reckon
it?
that new SF90, that's a hybrid, isn't it? At Ferrari.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I find the Hyundai Iconic 5, isn't it? That's the one that they've got, and we jokingly call it the new Austin Allegro, because it has a square steering wheel and everything about it is square. And anyone
Yeah.
who knows their British cars, so they know that the Allegro was terrible in every area. And my people that I know that have actually driven, I have driven a new Iconic myself in real life, and it was okay. But it wasn't that great. And I thought if they just put more power in it, is it not? I don't know if that's necessarily going to make it a great car, because it's kind of it is very. You notice the weight and the heaviness of an electric car. But yeah, it would be nice to get more petrol stuff that we used to get. I mean, they do have the Alfa Romeo, the Giulia, the Quadrifoglio, which is a great car, and they don't have the Stelvio.
No, they don't. Yeah.
No, I don't think they've got the Stelvio, which I've driven the Quadrifoglio version of that, which was phenomenal. Lovely, lovely machine. But even they don't even have that many new like Maseratis and things like that, do they? It's kind of, they don't have a lot. They want to get some cars that are going to stand out and bring some charisma back to the game, isn't it?
Yes,
we want something that's
so,
interesting.
There's a few car brands that are just non-existent that you would have thought would be there. Maserati is one of them. That's, there's hardly anything there.
But it isn't it a little bit swings and roundabouts. It sort of goes around and comes around. I personally think that cars with noise are never going to get old.
Yeah.
So no matter what, there's going to be GT3 racing. There's going to be, there's going to be Le Mans 24 hour. I mean, there is nothing more boring than watching a Formula E race. I mean, you can turn the sound off. I mean, it's disgusting. So I think cars with noise will never die out.
And to tie in with that, I think a few, and I know one for sure, and I'm trying to decide if it was BMW or Audi, have decided that they will not be discontinuing their internal combustion range.
That's right. Yeah, which is great.
And I think there will always be internal combustion engines in the world. As much as there's this drive to go green and go more environmentally friendly, I work for Aramco, and Aramco from next year, the fuel that is used in F1 will be fully sustainable, or completely 100% environmentally friendly, fully sustainable. So that's still an internal combustion engine. They'll always be there.
Yeah. Formula One's going to have it, because if it goes electric, it's just going to die on its feet.
No, but it's not going electric because we have committed to having that available next year, and it is one of the rules for 2026. So
which is good. No, that's it. And I think a lot, because for us and for many, I think, who play GT7, either they do have a big interest, in motorsport, and now the sim racing has allowed them to be part of that. And the hope is that the more motorsport you do in sim racing, maybe the better the chances you have of winning something. That could mean that you could actually compete in a bigger event, maybe at a track, because a lot of the talk has been now when these big events are on, at Formula One races and touring car races and different things, they're actually going to have sim racing events at the circuit as well. So all of the top local sim drivers or even international drivers will also come in and compete and have a live stream and a live TV screen, so you can see what's going on, and they'll actually have a race event. And I think it's a great idea, because it brings the crowds, and people want to, they're getting their value for money, because they're seeing racing that they can actually take part in, as well as the race on the track that they get to see too, which is really good, and I think anything like that helps to build motorsport is going to be good in overall for everybody, because then that kind of drives it forward, and hopefully, and they will keep as many petrol cars as possible. I think maybe most countries are now learning that the electric dream is pretty much coming to an end, because it's just not viable, certainly with the technology they have just now, and the expense is kind of crazy. And also, I think people don't really believe whether they're that good for the environment. When you see how much CO2 goes into making one, and how many miles you have to do to kind of equalize the actual sustainability and all the kind of claims, it might not have exhaust streams coming out of the back, but the amount of CO2 that simply goes into it, I think you need to do about 80,000 miles to actually get that back. And by 80,000 miles, your batteries are probably over. So you're going to have to get another battery set. So you kind of wonder what if it's worth anything at all. But
We've seen
yeah.
the prices of your battery.
Yeah, or it can be. It's like £10,000 or £12,000 for even a small car, like a Renault Zoe or something. It's incredible the amount of money that they want. But yeah, so no, that's kind of the thing. But hopefully, GT7 will continue to get great cars, and that will go in the future. But what would you like to say to all the viewers and to the community, because many of them are watching here today, and what would you like to say to encourage them on to take part in MSA and also the SMA as well in the near future, because they've had such a good response and they're a great bunch. Here's your chance to show them what you've got. How about you, Robin? I'll start with you.
Okay.
Oh, is Robin awake?
Robin?
No, are you asking me? Sorry, I am very much awake. What can I say to our members and new members? You know what? Let me give you one of my passion, which I have as an individual sim racer. I started online racing only 3.5 years ago. I just managed to figure out there was a lobby, and I pressed the button and I went, "Hey, what's this?" And all of a sudden I was in a race. And TNR Captain Slowly is his name today, but at the time he was the radio guy, and he sent me a message on PlayStation and said, "Hey, bud, why don't you come and join the South African League?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And the experience of racing in dailies today, in particular, as to when you come into a new league, as I did back then, it was challenging. It was the best fun I ever had. I met so many brilliant people, so many friends that I've been able to engage with over the years, and it's just the safe. SMA is probably the most safest place to come in as a sim racer, because you can learn so much. The amount of info that is shared amongst our community, and obviously with regards to everything, all the other chats, the WhatsApp chats, the Discord chats, is such a vibrant community. Except for Dylan, though, I have to mention Dylan there. I kind of like feel we need to block him at sometimes in the chats, but with regards to everybody else, it's just amazing bunch of people, sim racers coming together, and I think that motivates me as an individual to try and grow the sport. So for new members, if you really want to experience sim racing at its best, and be around sim racers from all aspects of life from South Africa, SMA is the place to be, and you will learn so much. I was driving automatic when I started, and probably one of the slowest drivers. And then Mac and Fred uh, helped me for many a years, still helps me till today. And I can proudly say I'm most certainly not slow anymore. So you can definitely improve your skills, and more importantly, I think, develop friendships and in a safe environment. So yeah. And then add for the juniors. Just for an example, we've got a youngster. We've actually got a few youngsters racing in the GT 500 Championship that was hosted in season one. A 14-year-old won tier 3. So if that's any motivation to any juniors out there, this is not just an old man's sport. Don't for 1 minute think that you are not able to join as a junior, because that would be SMA's next venture, that we will be looking into. Because as we can see, the community is growing. We're seeing more juniors coming in to our races, and it's amazing to see the skill set of these youngsters and the future of sim racing South Africa. So bring your kids along, put them in your rig, give them a chance, and, get involved. It's a good family community to be in as well, and it's, like I said, it's a safe environment. So yeah, I'm very excited for the future of SMA.
Fantastic. No, that's great. And Sir Max has got a question for Paul. He says, when are you organising a braai at your house again?
A braai.
A braai,
So do you know what a braai is?
I presume it's some kind of party, some kind of get
Barbecue, maybe.
It's a barbecue.
Right.
So put it this way, we'll definitely have a braai before the end of the year.
That would be good. A barbecue. And what do you cook? Is it burgers?
We cook cats and dogs and stuff like that. And then if we find the odd springbok running around, we'll chuck that on as well.
Our last braai was actually very, very nice.
It was, yeah. We had a braai, when was it? 2 years ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a while back, yeah.
We had a braai and a prize giving at my house, and it was great. We had all the guys around.
Yeah.
It was good fun.
Yep.
Oh, it's great. Nice way to bring in the community and have fun and make friends, isn't it? And build it all and discuss all those dodgy overtakes, what should have happened, penalty decisions, all those nice things that you can now know that you've got coming in the next title.
I think, Robin, if we think back to that braai, it was possibly the start of going down, not wanting to offend anybody else, but trying to go down a more professional route. I think we discussed it at that braai, and it was almost the beginning of what we see now. And that's, another reason to get together and listen to people's opinions and what can work and what can't work, and ask them for money and stuff like that.
100%.
Yeah.
Can we have a boxing ring in the corner for COC versus drivers?
Yeah, no, that's that.
So I'm not partaking in that fight.
No, so to be on COC, you have to be absolutely mad. Absolutely mad. You have to have a death wish to be in COC.
Thick-skinned and mad.
Yeah. But I think we've come up with better solutions now. It's always been quite difficult to get right. And it's amazing how many different opinions there can be into the same corner.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's quite difficult.
Yeah. No, that's the thing, isn't it? Yes, I used to love the old days of when Tidney used to do a live stream, and he'd be doing. It was like the minis, the original Mini Coopers. It would be like at Goodwood, or also he did at Willow Springs. They've got that short circuit, the kind of S's circuit that goes up the hill. The horse crew. They were great fun. That was one of the first live streams and kind of community races that I took part in. And it was great because those cars are fantastic to drive. But when you got on the sand, it was kind of manic, going around those hairpin bends and things like that. But no, it's been amazing to see all that kind of come about, and it's really to see what goes on behind the scenes, and this, to make this championship happen and be so successful is a huge amount of work. But I do believe that the community, they're all very much, very appreciative of what you've been doing and how you've been able to make this all work and come about. Because when I interviewed the Tiers earlier on in the last number of weeks, the same thing has always come through, that they really enjoy the racing and the camaraderie and the community that comes from it. So that's a big thank you to you guys for being able to put on such a great series and bring these combinations to life. And really, it's people do this so often. They put in a lot of work and then they race on the Monday night, and they do it because they love it. It's part of their lives. It's more than a hobby, isn't it? It's a real kind of big part of people's lives now in sim racing, and you've been able to help that come about and bring about great friendships in the process. So it's great to see it happen, and no doubt we'll be hearing from you all as the MSA gets going, and we'll do more interviews with the drivers as they come about, and as we see them race on a Monday night, and then we'll interview them probably on a Thursday to get their views, if they're still happy to talk by then, if they've not fallen out with anybody after any incidents. But no, it's been a fantastic pleasure to have you on the show tonight. I do appreciate you putting your time aside, and especially that wonderful cockpit view there from Gallara Brown. That's going to be a standard requirement for anyone else now that comes on the show. You're going to have a background like that. I think it's fantastic. You can choose different colors, different cars, different teams. Now that's a great one. Even looks like you've got the halo just there. That's brilliant. I do like that. But yes, have you got anything that you would like to finish off with?
I would like to. I said earlier on that we put a lot of time into getting SMA on the map, thanks to, I think the others would agree, mainly Robin's work and Fred's backup to Robin's work. And I think because of that, we've been able to get what most leagues like this need. We've been able to get money on board.
Yeah.
And I would personally like to thank, first of all, Simulator Cave. There are a few other private people that put money into our league, and a big thank you to them. I won't mention who they are because they've asked to be kept anonymous. But without that background work, we wouldn't be able to give out prizes for 5 tiers and the first 3 places, and give out certificates and all the things that we do. So from me as chairman, a big thank you to those people that fund us, and many of them have committed to not just this year, but to the next 3 years. And without them, we couldn't do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Big thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Thanks,
definitely.
man.
They are very, very much high quality sponsors and real contributors to the series. And it's great to have them on board. And I'm sure they'll continue on, and there'll be more to come as well. But no, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show tonight to discuss what it's like to be admin of SMA and for all the exciting future plans for the series. I know there's a lot of excitement from the drivers that can't wait to get started, and I'm sure those MSA entries will continue to build, and it will be a fantastic season. I can't wait to be watching it, to be finding out who's leading, to see the moves, to see if anyone can catch Levi, or will it be another title that he will run away with. But I think he'll have a lot more. There'll be a lot more races, a lot more competition for him, and a much tougher competition as he comes into the series in a few weeks' time. But thank you very much for putting your time aside and coming on the show. It's been a great to have you. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll obviously be keeping in touch with you all throughout the next season. But stay on the line as we come to close the show. But to everyone who has been watching, it's the Hugh Hatrick Show, as we have interviewed the stars of the SMA admin team. We've got Sandshark, we've got Paul McKenzie, we've got Robin Williams, we've got Gallara Brown, and we've got Fred. It's been great to have you all on the show. Have a fantastic night. And remember, drive fast and try not to crash. Thanks very much, everyone. We'll be back next week.
Guys.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, guys.